I am a more intense and disciplined style coach,
but loving.
I hope that it's an encouraging
Yeah.
style of that. I think that kids benefit more from it. I think kids thrive on structure and boundaries.
Today's episode, I'm bringing on my good friend, Kane Moore. He is a friend. I coach his son in baseball. He actually helps me coach. He's a business leadership coach. He is into fitness and into leadership, and he is so knowledgeable on so many different subjects. And in talking to him, I was like, dude, you'd be awesome on the podcast. You have so much value that you can share with our audience. And so without further ado, welcome to the podcast, Mr. Kane.
Chaz, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Not sure that all those accolades are quite at that level, but hey, you and I do get in some deep conversations, and I'm all for it and excited about this.
We had coffee to kind of talk about the podcast and some of the things we cover, and we looked at our watches, and both of us had run over, and we're like, dude, we got to go. All right. We're just scratching the surface, but we got to go.
Yeah, I could see us getting cut off here today and being like, hey, we're going to have to do another one. Whether or not people want to listen or not, I don't know. But you and I, we enjoy this.
Yeah, I'll just listen to it on repeat.
Yeah, you and I both.
So we met, actually, I didn't know you, and you signed your son up to play on our travel baseball team, Slam. And we've been, that was about a year and a half ago. And that's been first of all, Kane's son, Dom, is awesome. He's a great kid, a great athlete, super respectful. And I don't think you were like all the way into travel ball. You were kind of testing the waters, and then you heard about us and you ended up joining. How has that experience been playing quote unquote travel ball, although we don't travel more than 30, 40 minutes away?
Yeah. I would say that I think you and the coaches have said, we're more of a tournament team with local tournaments rather than traveling. The experience has been what I was looking for and what I was hoping for, in that it was something more developmental, a higher level of competitiveness, but also hasn't taken over our lives nor Dominic's life. I am a big proponent of and fan of playing all the sports. The thing that I've loved about the experience with the Slam group is that I've seen it be more development of an athlete rather than, hey, we're just making a baseball player here. I've seen it be something to where there's a lot of sharing of as much knowledge as we can bring. And I see you and the coaches being open to feedback and open to suggestion. And I've been fortunate and very thankful for all the guidance you guys have given for things that I can do at home with Dominic to help him.
Right. And that was kind of the plan. Is like, so Luke is obviously a multisport athlete too. We play 4 sports. Heck, he'd play 7 if time permitted. But we play 5 or maybe even 6 tournaments a year, which is really on the low end. You see teams out there playing 12 tournaments, 13, 14, 15, and it really takes over the sort of the family calendar, right? I mean,
it can.
I have an older son who's not into that, and we don't have babysitter help and all that stuff, so we have to drag him to the park. Now, luckily, he's a good sport about it, and he finds himself busy at the park. Mm-hmm. But it could really take over your life if you allow it to.
Absolutely, it can. Absolutely, it can. And look, I'm as competitive as they come. So it is that trying to find that balance of, hey, how do we allow the kids to develop and go have fun with this and get to go do it? And also, like you say, maintain that we get to still have a life with our entire family together.
How do you quiet the voices in your head when you say, I know if we played more baseball, Dominic could be better in baseball? How do you quiet that noise into specialization, even at his young age?
To be honest, Chaz, I can't do it on my own. What I've learned is, and I'm in no way, shape, or form great or perfect at this by any means. But I think the thing that I try to do is surround myself with people that help me to keep things in perspective. I've also worked to try to take in media or consume other things that also help me to keep it in perspective. That, hey, he's 9, they are 9. We're not trying to be the best of the best right now. That progress will come as long as they enjoy it. Hey, remove the pressure. Remember, this is still supposed to be fun for them. So it's consciously trying to put myself in environments or around people that keep me grounded with that, because the easiest thing for me to do is go all in on something.
Yeah. And it's very easy. It's easy and it's tempting, right?
Yeah.
Because if you practice every single day baseball, if you give up the football, if you give up the basketball, if you give up those other sports and just concentrate on one sport, you will be better at a younger age, right?
For a period of time.
For a period of time. That's the key word.
And as you said, number one, at a younger age, as a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, 11, maybe even up to 12. Yeah, he may be a better baseball player then because he'll have gotten all these reps at it.
Yeah.
However, past that, if you listen to physical therapists and other doctors and other things, what they are talking about and what they're seeing with the injuries, the overuse of one thing because of a specialization in a sport at a young age, where they just use a certain muscle group, a certain ligament group, these other things, and they overuse it then without giving it enough rest, without then developing other motor systems that are required for other sports that actually can supplement and support that. But I try to remind myself of all these, and having people like you in my life is a big help for me to do that.
Yeah, well, I just talk because I'm trying to convince myself that that's the right move, right? Because I'm competitive too, right?
Yeah,
and so I'm like, Kane, this is what I think. Neuroplasticity develops. You only have till the age of 14 to develop all around athleticism. You have the rest of your life to develop a skill. I learned golf at 35, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen the NBA players that couldn't make a jump shot, and they get to the NBA and they're 6'10" and they're athletic, and they teach them how to shoot. You can develop skills the rest of your life. The experts are saying from the media that I've consumed,
bingo,
that you have until about the age of 14 to develop all around athleticism.
Yeah.
And so you want to play as many sports as you can. You mentioned the overuse injuries. That's a big concern. I've talked to orthopedics, and I'm lucky in the work that I do as a personal injury lawyer. I have access to orthopedics. And I asked him, he said, dude, I'm doing UCL repairs on 10, 11, 12-year-olds.
Yeah.
That is staggering, like Tommy John surgery on children.
Yeah.
Right? And that's a shame.
It is. I agree. Look, not to say that anybody's at fault for it. However, now that more and more information is becoming available about these things, I think the thing that you and I try to do with each other is challenge ourselves to make sure we're paying attention.
Yeah, well, you get caught up.
Yeah.
You get caught up. A Saturday, Sunday, it's a good game. You want to beat the crosstown rivals. You get caught up in the moment and you lose your better judgment.
Yeah.
And so it's good to surround yourself with good men and women that can keep perspective.
Absolutely.
Hey, this is a long game. This is a marathon. This is not a sprint.
That's right.
But look, I've been thinking about travel ball. And again, I don't like, let's say tournament ball. My buddy asked me, I said, look, a lot of people that shit on it on TikTok, it's because they're thinking that everyone is delusional enough to have their kid play D1 ball or MLB ball, Major League Baseball, and they compare it to Central America where it's all about skills. It's all about train. Very few games, train.
Yeah.
Whereas tournament ball, travel ball, it's games with few practices.
Yeah.
And you're playing multiple games on the weekend. I said, but you got to take the delusional people out the equation. What about the kids that they like the cool uniforms? They like playing on turf. They like seeing all their friends and walk-up music and all that. It's just a good experience. I play golf, not to get money out of it. I'm not going pro anytime soon. I just enjoy playing. And so my point is, these kids are playing a better they're playing a game for fun, and it's a better product. The tournament ball system is fun. What's wrong with that?
I agree with you. I think, and it can be fun. Now, the one thing I would encourage people to do is ask themselves, is the group that they are signing up for, that they're signing their child up for and their family up for, is that group, do they have the mindset that you want to have for your child with it? Hey, I want them to have a good experience with this. I want them to get to develop, have good relationships with it, have good role models around it, and not only in their teammates, but in their coaches and the family, the other families that they're with. So that way they can have that. Because as long as there is that, then yeah, they've got it. The kids love it. I mean, Dominic asked me, Dad, do we have a tournament this weekend? And he's bummed when they don't.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
I'm making an assumption. That's a great point. I'm making an assumption that it's fun because we have fun.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
And so maybe in some teams it's not always fun, right? It's a chore.
Yeah. And I would say just like anything, it can be. And that's, look, whether that's with travel ball or I'm fortunate to get to help coach, and I know you do, my son's flag football team. It can be with any of these sports or jujitsu or whatever that your kids do. It can become too much of a job for them in some way, shape, or form. So checking in with them, I completely agree with you. But when they do find it, and I think we're fortunate to see the group of kids light up and love the weekends that they've got tournaments, love to be at the park together, love to get to go out in the field and compete. Do they like it if they're losing? Maybe not quite so much, but overall, they want to be there.
Do you think that kids, since you're a coach as well, do you think that kids should have firm coaches at a young age, 8, 9 years old? Firm but loving?
I think.
Because I'm old school.
I think you would know that I'm much more old school. I don't think there's anybody that's ever been around me as a
you're just intense
as a dad or a coach that would say, yeah, Kane's a softie and just easy going with stuff. I am a more intense and disciplined style coach.
But loving.
I hope that it's an encouraging style of that. I think that kids benefit more from it. I think kids thrive on structure and boundaries. And without that, they don't know what to do. Without that, they're not sure where the boundaries are and or how to be successful in that endeavor or even in other things. Without that, it becomes chaotic for them. And I believe then they begin to lack trust and belief in things. I think kids are yearning to see somebody that they can look to that they believe is in control of a situation that when things go sideways or when they are confused about something, there's somebody that they believe they can look to help guide them through it. That's my belief.
Were you the one that told me about the basketball court on the top of the building?
No.
Okay, so this is a great analogy for kids. You take a basketball court, you put it on top of a building. Think of a skyscraper.
Yeah.
You put a basketball court, no fence. How hard are the kids going to play? Not very hard, right? Hard. They're going to fall off.
Yeah, they're scared.
Now you put a 12-foot fence around the basketball court, and you say, now play basketball. They're going to play to the fullest.
Absolutely.
Right?
Because you've removed that fear of them getting hurt, so to speak, and falling.
You've created boundaries. You've created structure. Kids thrive in structure. Sometimes when I jump on Luke and I say, hey, he's like, he looks at me with just a look of satisfaction and like relief, like, all right, you've given me permission. Let's go.
I would say in not only giving him permission, Chaz, but I've watched you, and something I've seen with kids too is you've also brought a focus for him then with a boundary. I mean, there's so much that the kids could be paying attention to. Their buddies behind the dugout or on the next field. There's some song. I'm not sure what to do on this play. Who knows what? But not only have you given him structure, but you've brought him like, hey, this is the thing to focus on. This is the thing to take care of there. So like you've helped them to bring clarity to it. rather than them just having so much going on in their head that it is a challenge for them to go, I can't handle all these things. But when you give me one, dad or coach, okay, I can handle that. I can do that one thing.
Yeah. Wow. We'll talk about baseball for the next 2 hours, but
It's baseball, but I think the thing we both get passionate about is more than that. It's
life.
It's life, and it's helping. It's a way that we get to raise our boys and our family, which we care immensely about.
I'm looking at your water bottle. You do something cool every single day. You take a picture of that water bottle with an inspirational quote. Give me the background with that.
So, 7 years ago, I started to look. I love, and next to it, you see coffee. I love coffee. There's probably my favorite drink in the world is just black coffee.
I'm 3 cups in, by the way.
Yeah, look, this is my third. So, however, I found when I would wake up and I would just go straight to coffee, like, first of all, and this was when I was younger, so I had more energy. Probably didn't feel quite as good, and all that, it didn't really energize me too much. And I had read things about water. I knew, and my dad was always, hey, drink water, make sure you're hydrated. I started for some reason, and I don't know why the original thing was, but I started to challenge myself. I'm like, all right, I'm going to drink a blender bottle, 28 ounces of water every morning when I get up before I have anything else, before I have coffee or anything else. And I started to just notice that it was, I felt better and I had more energy. Matter of fact, if I'd pick one of these two to just drink, if I can only drink one in the morning, if I drink coffee, I'm not going to have as much energy and I'm not going to feel as good. If I drink water, I will have more energy, I'll be more alert, and I will feel better. In the podcast, the experts say your adenosine system is not fully up and awake, and you need electrolytes and other things. As we sleep, we get dehydrated. Our body, as it repairs itself, it releases toxins and other things. So the water helps to flush those toxins out. It helps you to hydrate more, so that way you've got more clarity and things like that. And without that stuff, that foundation in your system, the coffee really not going to have the effect that a lot of people want for it. I love the taste of it, not always the effect, but I know there's a byproduct of effect. So I started to just do it on my own. And then, I don't know, 5 years ago, when I started to first take a picture of that thing every morning, the intent was to encourage people to do the same. That's it. There's no pressure, no place at all of coming from, oh, hey, I think I know better, or anything like that. I saw social media out there as a place that people consumed it, and I wanted there to be something somewhere that would be encouraging and valuable. And so I started to just go, like, as I was drinking in the morning, I'm a planner. I'm an overthinker, without a doubt.
You're in good company.
There was never a morning where I was drinking it that I wasn't thinking of something to do for the day. And so as I began to do it, I was like, well, what if I put like whatever my thought is in my head that morning, the thing that I'm thinking about, or my intention I want to bring to the day, or something I learned recently, or something I'm trying to remember or relearn, and just put it there.
But you're also making yourself accountable.
That's it. I am making myself accountable. And so
I'm not going to be a hypocrite. I'm going to put it out there and I'm going to live it.
I'm going to put it out there. I'm going to live it. Yeah.
I actually heard it was Dr. Oz, who I'm sure is just the foremost expert on everything medically related. He had a great point. He was like, look, start with water. Don't waste your whatever the chemical process that happens with caffeine, and don't waste it when you're doing your rote things throughout the day. Wait till you get to the office. Chug water, because you could put your clothes on. You don't need caffeine to put your clothes on. You don't need caffeine to brush your teeth. You don't need caffeine to make your hair. You don't need caffeine for your drive. Wait and have your first cup of coffee at 9 o'clock, 9:30 when you start your day at your office. And I thought that was great advice. I don't heed that advice just because I love the taste of coffee.
That's it. Yeah.
But it is good advice, right?
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, I view coffee as a reward. Coffee's my reward after I've had my certain amount of water.
Well, damn, I'm rewarding the heck out of myself this morning.
Look, I mean, bingo, right here.
But look, I got to tell you, Lath will tell you something about that cup. He's worried about the plasticities or whatever in the cup, the BPAs. Why do you think it's important to share valuable information to the public?
I think we're all consuming things every day. When I say things, some type of information, knowledge, media, or hearing things. The easiest thing for people to hang on and remember oftentimes is, and I think there's an overabundance of it out there, unfortunately, is negativity or bad things. And so my intent and hope was that, hey, give them one extra bit of encouragement, one small example of something positive, of reassuring or motivational, whatever it is. I guess because I wanted it, and so I just wanted to so I put it there. I don't.
You make the world a better place when you share something positive, right? It's a butterfly flap in the wings, right? And creating a tidal wave across the world. I use my social platform and saying, I'm going to give legal education for free. I was blessed to come from a single parent home, a small town. I was blessed enough to get an education. I've jumped the hurdles. Here it is. I have this information. I want to share it to me and my family 25 years ago that didn't have access to this information. But in the process, me just sharing my life, I realize I'm having probably a bigger impact, not on the legal information, but just showing people how I live and how I'm a good father and trying to live life the right way.
I love that.
And that's why I share my kids and the things that I do with my kids and hope that it inspires, it could have maybe inspired my father to be a better father, 40 years ago. And I'm trying to reach that person. And if I make the world a better place, even if I just affect one person, I could be everything to one person, and that creates the next doctor that changes the world or the next scientist that cures cancer or something, right? And so that's why I feel like what is our impact here, right?
And I would challenge you to say, even if it isn't the next scientist or doctor, what if you just impact one person that because of that, they then get to go live a happy and fulfilled life?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah.
It doesn't, I think, look, as ambitious as I am, I think the thing I'm trying to do, and I had somebody challenge me, actually ask me on this little while ago, like, hey, do you unplug? Can you unplug and just kind of be? And I said, actually, I'm getting better and better at that. I can. You talk about sports practices and things like that. I don't look at my phone at all there.
Yeah.
For 2 hours, I'm doing nothing but focused on my son and the
flow
group
state, right?
That's it. So yeah, like how can you impact that? As you were talking there, it made me think of another probably reason that I'd forgotten about this. I am blessed beyond measure with the parents that I grew up with. Look, were they perfect? By no means. They gave every ounce of effort they ever could, though, and they did a fantastic job of setting my sister and I up with what I call just true life skills. They took care of themselves. They exercised. My dad had a garden. They grew their own food. We ate full meals every night of vegetables, proteins, and starches. They were home cooked. We all sat around the table. They were there and involved in everything we did. They both worked full-time jobs. As just blue collar people. But my dad was always teaching me things. And now look, did he put a lot of pressure on and other things? He did, but it was always with the right intentions. There was never any doubt that amount of love that we had from them. And I am unbelievably blessed with that. And I think as I've grown up and other things, I've come to know, like you shared, you grew up in a single parent household and other things. And your mom did a fantastic job of teaching you everything she knew, but we can all benefit from, I learned from my friends' parents, these other things. And so I think some of the thing I also saw was that, hey, some of these life lessons that I was fortunate enough to know and learn, we weren't all there. And so how can I share some things that people can benefit from? I think that was also probably some of that, the intent and inspiration behind it.
You talking about nutrition. How important do you think eating good foods and exercise, and how important is that to be a productive person?
It's probably it's probably number 2 on the list of most important things you can do, behind number 1 being rest and sleep. That's it. So sleep first, and most of us, and I'm guilty at times too.
Do you struggle with sleep at all? Have you struggled with sleep?
I didn't used to prioritize sleep enough. I don't struggle with it that much. I struggle a lot more than I did when I was a kid. I mean,
Right.
Kids sleep sound. There's no thoughts in their heads.
No.
But no, my wife would say I'm a great sleeper. She's a light sleeper. I can sleep through a lot of things most of the time. So fortunately I don't, but I also have learned over the years that because of how important sleep is and the way I feel with it, I've also learned and tried to educate myself on what are the things I can do to help my sleep. How do I calm my mind? At what times do I eat, and what time and what things am I eating at different times? I try to drink a certain amount of water over the course of the day. I recognize that 2 hours before sleeping, I should try to have my water consumed. Otherwise, I'm going to be up during the night more often because you have to go to the bathroom. So I try to do things to prioritize it. Yeah.
How much sleep do you get a night?
The goal for me is about 7 hours. That's the goal. From laying down in bed to when the alarm goes off. From lights out, done talking with the wife, to when the alarm goes off is 7 hours. That's the goal.
How do you, in this world where everything is processed and people are cash strapped, how do you make good nutritional decisions?
You begin small. Don't try to go so big. Don't try to go perfect. And look, I've done that. Tried to go perfect and strict. And I know there's people that do it. And
a $500 grocery bill later.
Yeah.
And half the stuff goes bad in the fridge.
There's the thing. So instead of all that, what's one small thing you can make? How can you minimize the amount of sugar you take in? What's, one less soda a day, or no soda, or I'm going to try to make sure I consume a certain volume of water or a good nutritional thing. What are the small decisions that you can make that you can do consistently? It's not what you do every now and then, but what you do regularly that adds up. It's I indulge a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. I indulge semi-regularly.
Well, you travel a good bit.
I travel a good bit, and I do these other things. Look, and not only that, but I've learned that if I want to connect with my family, the kids are sitting down eating homemade cookies that my mom has made and sent down for them. Well, if I sit there and every night go, nope, not going to have that. First of all, mom's not always going to be there to make homemade cookies and send them. And then not only that, but I'm missing out on the kids remembering that, hey, every now and then we got a treat, and dad would eat a cookie with us. Right. So what do you do the majority of the time? What are the small choices you make there? What's one less processed thing you have? What's, instead of putting ranch with every bit of food you have and these other things, how do you remove those small things that allow you to take in more nutrient dense foods with less overall?
How do we stop eating fast food? Right?
Yeah.
And everybody's cash strapped, and they're also time strapped.
Right? I think time strap's the bigger thing.
It kills me, dude, when my wife stops at McDonald's or Raising Cane's, and I'm like, gosh, we had them so good. And it's just I kind of throw my hands up sometimes. It's look, it's not kids. Actually, I've heard several podcast experts kids are so resilient, right? Their bodies are just furnaces for calories. So calories in, calories out. It's not as big of a deal, but I don't want to create bad habits, right? Yeah. So many kids, man, if you go to a grocery store, I try not to go to Walmart often, but if you look at people's baskets of food and you see the food coloring, food dyed, Kool-Aids and cheese nips, and look, Lath's having an anxiety attack just thinking about it.
Yeah.
I mean, just look at people's grocery carts. It is like, it's sad.
It is sad. I go back to how fortunate I have been is that they're not being intentional with it. They just don't know.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You want to go back to media and other things. What do the commercials put on things? There's soda. It's a whole bunch of businesses and companies that are trying to generate revenue. And so they will do what it takes to sell more of their product. And if that means sweetening it, then they're doing it. So there isn't a whole lot of information out there. There isn't nowhere near the amount of information out there to help people make better choices about these things and be informed on it, as there is just a whole bunch of information and propaganda out there to get people to buy a whole bunch of product for these companies.
They're starting to shine a light on it with Make America Healthy Again and that kind of thing. But, you know, about a year ago, I had an Instagram post. I saw a Barks root beer and I pulled it and it was an Instagram story I had. And I flipped the lid on the back. I think it was like 60 or 70 grams of sugar.
Oh,
and I think Sprite, which is now marketed as a non-caffeine good alternative for kids because it doesn't have caffeine in it, had more than the Barks root beer. And I was like, this is criminal. This is class action material. Like, this is diabetes in a can.
Yep.
This is overweight, obesity. It's sickening, man.
It is. And unfortunately, it's become the norm now.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Whereas, and look, you go,
and we're fighting that battle. I know you bring snacks for your kids I
pack a lunch every tournament we go to.
But I mean, you got all the food, the candy, it's like, and then you're fighting other parents' decisions of the kids around you.
You are. Your kids feeling like they're left out.
Poor Dom's eating a bag of almonds on the side, and somebody's eating Airheads right next to him. Probably Luke to sneak one in, you know.
But look, you're right. Luckily for Dom, that's what Dom's been his whole life.
Yeah.
So he just goes like, yeah, my dad's crazy. Like this, I just know that this is what I do and this is where I'm at. And so it's okay for him. However, what I recognize is that for most of the other kids, like they're looking at it going, oh my gosh, that's terrible. And they feel punished by it. The one narrative that I try to have with Dominic is, I love you enough to do the harder thing.
Yeah. It's hard.
I love you enough to get up earlier and pack you a lunch.
Make sandwiches.
I love you enough for you to look at me and go, Dad, but I want that. And why can't I have that? And I feel left out. I love you enough to say to you, hey, I know like it's hard. The easier thing is for me to throw that in and just give it to you.
Yeah.
There's no rebuttal with it. There's no thing. It's not a challenge to get you to finish it. That's the easier thing. The harder thing is to do the other stuff. But because I care about you that much and I recognize what this is doing for you, my belief is that what this is doing to program you for life is the right thing.
Yeah.
It's like for you, Chaz, when your alarm goes off in the morning and you're getting up to go for a long run, I'm sure over half the time you're sitting there going, man, I'd just like to go back to sleep.
98% of the time.
I know. But because you know what the down the road effects are, or just the later that day effects are on your mind, your body, your health, all these things, you're willing to challenge yourself to do that. I think then for me, and I try to go on but I'm big on parenting, to go on a tangent, or my narrative with the kids is always, I love you enough to do this. There is no intent to be mean to you here with this. There is no intent at all to deprive you of things. I love you enough that I want to set you up for success and I want you to be healthy. There's enough information out there that Dad is learning, that we are consuming, that I try to educate myself with, that says, this is the better thing for you. And look, I just talked about it earlier. My mom sends cookies for every one of their birthdays, their homemade cookies that she does. Do they eat them? Absolutely. Do the kids get desserts? Absolutely. After they've had a nutritious meal.
Yeah.
Does Dom get candy and other things? Yeah, he does every now and then. Now, not near as much as most, but it's not that they can't ever have it. It's teaching them, how do you prioritize the healthy things? And once you have that nutritious food in you, then we can have these other
That's
things.
the foundation.
Absolutely.
I tell, you said that I have that conversation with my kids all the time when they want the iPads, and I'm pulling Jake to go outside. Luke's outside already. I got to pull Jake, and he's like, he'll say hurtful things to me because he's smart, right?
Yeah.
He'll say, "Dad, I wanted to." I said, no, this is that ultimate act of love.
Yeah.
I can give you your iPad right now.
That's easier.
I can go live my life.
Yeah. I don't have to do anything with it. That thing will entertain you for 12 hours. They're engineered to do it.
I've been at work all day. I don't want to go outside any more than you do.
Nope.
But we have to move our bodies.
That's it.
And so I'm going to stop what I'm doing to coach you up outside and spend time with you outside, doing something healthy and productive in the sunshine, moving our bodies.
Yep. Yep. And I'm going to help you not be so ingrained and so addicted to a screen, because that's a real thing now. They say, the dopamine hits in the new addiction is the screens. Like there's more and more information coming out about the detriment it is to people's health, their mental health, their physical health, all kinds of things.
I got to tell you, I've given social media a break. I've probably been off of it for about a month, maybe 2 months now.
And how do you feel?
I have an Opal app that blocks it. Like, you can't break this app. I've tried. Trust me, I've tried.
Really? It's called Opal?
Take a deep breath. Opal, OPAL. It says, take a deep breath. Like, it'll say very condescending messages to me. Like, go for a walk, dude. Like, and it's just funny. It responds.
You can just share it. I'll just share that with me.
I'll show you when we're done.
Yeah.
And no FOMO. No, like, even the healthy stuff that I consume on social media, like business, but it keeps me in a constant state of, I got to do this. I got to build my business. I got to do that. I'm missing out. I got to go run. I got to go work out. And it's unhealthy. And I'm a 40-year-old man. I can only imagine an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old child, what it's doing to them. So I've been taking a break. I don't miss that at all. But I do want to get to business leadership. Okay, because I want free advice while I got you on my podcast. What's the number one thing you see when you meet with a business leader? What are the common problems that you see that they're having where you can assist?
I think something that I see is an opportunity to improve communication and understanding, starting first with themselves, but then when they communicate better with themselves, understand themselves better, they're able to communicate better and understand and lead their teams better. We speak to ourselves in our heads more than anybody else speaks to us, or more than we speak to anybody else ever, by a magnitude.
And that's real bad for me and you.
It is, yeah.
Classic overthinker.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, so whatever it is, whatever that narrative is in our head, our natural or our built-in narrative, there's always probably room to optimize that and improve that. So we start there and then help. But a lot of times when I say start there, like I say, it's understanding that narrative. Until we think about it, until we think about our thinking and our mindset and the way we think, we probably just run. We probably just go. And look, there's a ton of successful people that do fantastic and have an overall good mindset, but like maybe aren't aware of it. And so therefore can't exploit it and can't help the people that they lead at their company to grow theirs, to have a growth mindset, to have a positive, value-adding train of thoughts. So I think the biggest thing I see is an opportunity for improved communication and understanding, which leads to better trust. I think when teams trust the leader, they get on board. They follow through on things. They want to do a better job. The leader I see, when the opportunity for them and those that do best and have the most success are those that can paint a picture or a vision of where they want to go and where their teams are going with them and how they all benefit from this. They don't sit there and lie and say, hey, this is all going to be easy and this is all going to be great. No, it's not that. But the end result is going to be worthwhile, and here's how you're going to benefit from it. But if they don't understand that, then when they struggle to understand that themselves completely, it's hard to help all the others that they lead and those around them to understand and see that. And see why that they go through the challenge of a change in process or a change in methodology. Without that vision, without that understanding of where we're going, I think it makes it hard to keep people on that journey and help them to understand the benefit to them.
I think for a long time, I was operating without a vision. And so I certainly wasn't communicating that vision to anyone else. Because you know how it is as a small business. I was just doing one transaction at a time. Oh, we got money in the bank account. I guess we make payroll this week.
Yeah.
We're doing good work. Our clients love us. But I didn't have a vision of, hey, we are trying to help people. We are trying to grow the firm. That way we can help more people. And here's what we're going to do to exercise that vision. Yeah. And if you guys help me along that vision, you will benefit. And this is how you will benefit. You will do worthwhile work. You will make more money. You will blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Probably took me 10 years to get to that point.
Absolutely. It takes most of us that, because what I find, what I see, we're all trained to do tasks, to do things, to succeed, to earn a certain grade, to perform to a certain level. We're all trained to do that throughout life, throughout school. You're tested on things, on knowledge, on processes, on information. What I find is a big opportunity for improvement for all of us is the EQ side of things, the emotional intelligence, the understanding of ourselves and our mindset in our thoughts. Because while we're trained to do things, so you went out and you could go be a lawyer. You were trained to be a lawyer. So you could go do that. But like you said, maybe you didn't really recognize, why am I doing this? And what's my end goal with this? What do I really want? We go through most of life. We don't get, while you're a young kid, you get asked what you want. And then all of a sudden you get into an adolescent and then a young adult, and people stop asking you what you want. Because there's just things you just have to do. There's bills to be paid. There's money. You have to make money to be able to do it. You just have to do things. And you get to a point in life where you're going, you're just reacting because you have to. Because to keep up and to keep your head above water and to pay bills and to be able to do these other things, you're just doing it because you have to. Whereas until somebody sits down, a lot of times, until you sit down with somebody else or yourself or a mentor or I've got a great group of friends that ask me these types of questions of, why are you doing what you're doing? What's the real goal here? Well, I want to make money. Okay, but why? What are you doing with it? What's the benefit to you? And so you pull back those layers, and I think the opportunity for a lot of leaders, I think, is to clarify, why are you doing what you're doing? What's your reasoning?
Start with the why.
Start with the why.
Have you read that?
Yeah, I have. Yep, Simon Sinek. Start with why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can figure out what motivates each person, right? And how you can meet them there or help them achieve their goals.
Yeah.
It's a great book.
Yeah. Yeah. So because Not all this stuff is going to be sunshine and rainbows. There's going to be a lot of difficulty with it. If your why is strong enough, you'll take the next step. The next step. Doesn't that mean all of them? But if you're not sure of that, if you're not full in and a believer of that, why would you keep on challenging yourself and torturing yourself at times?
How do you teach people how to be better listeners?
I think somehow help them to understand the value in it. I think demonstrate it first by being a better listener yourself. Demonstrate it and help them to see the value they get from it. Help them to see that actually by them listening more, they can actually get more of what they want. They actually can get a better message across to people. You can create a foundation of trust, of understanding. And with that, you can say less, but create more value. When you're a better listener, you actually understand what the people that you're communicating with, what they want to hear and what they don't want to hear. You understand, well, they understand that part of it. So I don't need to talk to them about that. Why would I say things they already understand and they already know?
But you can't get there unless you actually listen.
Unless you really listen. Like really listen. You're not listening just to respond. You're listening to understand.
I've actually been working on that, listening and not be so solution oriented. I actually heard recently that when you're always giving a solution, and I'm Mr. Fix It. That's what I do for a living, right? I'm talking to
dude. I'm a mechanical engineer by college school. Everything I was taught was to fix things. And look, I was brought up to be constantly fixing things. It is the thing I have to work on the most is to not be a fixer.
A fixer. Because my wife doesn't want a solution. She just wants me to listen.
Yeah.
And I heard recently that the reason we hurry up and offer a solution is because we're scared, we're insecure that if we listen more is going to bring up things that we're insecure about, right? And it's going to, like if I start talking about, hey, let me tell you some problems with my business and I'm thinking about changing my brand and I'm doing this, you might start thinking that you need to change your brand.
Yeah.
But you don't want to have that hard conversation because that requires work. So you'll just cut me off and give me the solution. We can move on and talk about something else.
That's
right?
it. Yeah.
It's actually insecurity where you always feel the need or you're time crunched. Right?
Well, but even if it's time crunch, it comes down to an insecurity. Hey, we're not going to get there quick enough. I'm nervous about that.
Yeah.
I think another thing too is we'll go back to what we've been trained in school and things. You were always asked and taught in the testing, you're supposed to have the answer. Life has taught us that, hey, it needs us to have the answer. I hear, people talk about toxic masculinity. Well, these men that feel like to be an authority figure, to be respected, I've got to be knowledgeable. I have to have the answer for people. I think the truth is what I've seen, some of the men I respect, some of the people I respect most, they're okay to not always have the answer. They actually are okay. They are secure enough in themselves to let the other people have the answer and shine.
That's awesome. Kane, we're wrapping up. Give me your best business or leadership book.
I think the one I enjoy the most and something I try to live by the most is one by ex-Navy SEAL named Jocko Willink called Extreme Ownership. I think when you own your opportunities and the things in life that are within your realm and sphere of control, you give yourself the opportunity to have the best results. It's not always easy to own the positive, the negative, the good, the bad, everything. However, when you own it, it puts you in control of your life. When you deflect ownership or responsibility, gives everybody else and everything else control of you, your life, and the results you get. When you own it, you get to control your future. You get to affect it. So that book has been fantastic.
Lath can tell you this. When we have issues here at the firm, no matter how small, I say it's my fault. My fault. And it's like, well, Chaz, no, that's so. I said it's my fault. I didn't put good enough systems in place that this happened. People will make mistakes. My systems failed. The supervision failed. I hired the supervisor. I didn't properly train. It's my fault.
Yep.
So Chaz, that's not fair, man. It's my fault. Extreme ownership.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Kane, thank you so much, dude.
Chaz, thank you, man.
Conversation, bro.
Heck
awesome.
yeah. Appreciate it, man.
All right.